What's up, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome on into the Brass Ring Media Podcast. It's Friday, January 31st, 2025. How's it going? I'm your host, Zach Haydorn. I'm here solo today. Normally, Tyler Sage is with me, but just like last week, he is out on assignment, so it's just me. And it's you, of course. And it's Royal Rumble weekend. We're almost on, I guess I should say. We're almost on the road to WrestleMania. And tomorrow night, Lucas Oil Stadium, 60,000 people. I mean, just wild stuff. if you're WWE heading into this weekend, that's a lot of people for a Royal Rumble. The ticket prices that they were charging, that they're still charging, insane. So it's going to be a real good day at the office for them tomorrow. But so a busy weekend in wrestling, a busy weekend for you, the wrestling fans. And I will be in Indianapolis. I am leaving for Indianapolis in about 3 hours here, probably. And it's rainy. It's gonna be a rainy old drive to Indy from Chicago, but going to be fun. So I'll have reporting and live updates and all sorts of stuff from Indianapolis live throughout the weekend. So definitely keep it locked here. And also hit subscribe on the Brass Ring Media YouTube channel. That's where a lot of the reporting will live. Whether it's shorts or posted videos or podcasts, going to live on Brass Ring Media and some here on One True Sport as well. So check it out and subscribe over there. You can also check out our Substack newsletter that gets updated every single day. It's over on Substack, Brass Ring Media. Just search that and you'll find it. It's totally free to subscribe, and definitely something you're going to want to be a part of, especially this weekend. We've had some new subscribers to that, and it's been fun. To have those new people come on board, and it should be you. So give it a shot. And if you just signed up, thank you. Also, if you just signed up to be a Brass Ring Media member, we appreciate that as well. That is kind of our lifeblood here at Brass Ring Media for myself and the team. You can do that by heading over to Patreon, patreon.com/Brass Ring Media. We got 2 tiers that you can join. The first tier is just $4 a month and get you everything that we do, all the content that we produce. You get as a Brass Ring Media member for only $4 a month. That includes all of our pay-per-view and PLE review shows. Specifically this weekend for the Royal Rumble. You get access to our Discord community. You get full access to the newsletter, including specialty paid articles and paid content. You get a member-only podcast once a week, which I'll be recording a little bit later today from an Indianapolis hotel. And so much more. So head over to Patreon. Give us a shot. To earn your business. You can try us out for free. No credit cards down or anything like that. So give us a go. Brass Ring Media on Patreon, patreon.com/Brass Ring Media. As for the show today, pumped to have everybody here listening. Man, we got a great turnout. We got people loading up into the chat. E says here, it's just Zach, not Robert. What do you mean normally Tyler joins you? This is not 1TS Daily. No, this is not 1TS Daily. This is the Brass Ring Media podcast. 1TS Daily is going to be back next week. I actually had some scheduling conflicts. Just life stuff getting in the way. So we'll be back next week though with 1TS Daily live right here every single morning. But with that said, I do have the live chat open, so jump on in there if you guys want to do that. I also have got the super chats open, and that's a real easy way to get involved with the show and to also, help out the show financially. So if you want to ask a question or you want to, jump in with a topic of some kind, or you want to rant and rave or yell at me for some reason, do it there. Do it there. Any contribution level helps, and I appreciate it very much. We got Brian Barry, who is in the chat, who asked a fun question. We'll get to that in a little bit, like 2 seconds here. What's going on, Brian? Really good to see you. Thanks for joining the show live. All right, so here's the plan here for the next 35, 40 minutes thereabouts for the podcast today. We're going to talk Royal Rumble. We're not going to preview the Royal Rumble in full. Why? Because we did it on Tuesday night. This show is twice a week, and we did it on Tuesday night, and we previewed it top to bottom, every single match, predictions, analysis. So head back into the archives. It's the show right next to this one on the One True Sport YouTube channel, and you can check that out. Our full Royal Rumble preview, over an hour of Royal Rumble preview chatter. You can also get that as a podcast. All of our live shows are available as podcasts wherever you get your podcasts. So just search Brass Ring Media in your favorite podcast app, and we come up, and we will be there. And you definitely should do that so that you can take our shows on the road and get your Royal Rumble fix. All right. Cool. All right. So we're going to talk quickly about updates to the Royal Rumble build. There's some rumors that some people in the chat are getting to, and want to hit those. And then we're going to talk AEW Dynamite as well. So we'll probably spend a big chunk of the time talking about AEW Dynamite. I need a little caffeine here. Caffeine today brought to you by the unofficial sponsor of One True Sport and Brass Ring Media, Starbucks. Starbucks, come get your sponsorship. Come get your sponsorship. Look at this engagement. It's out of this world. All right. So we've got we got some updates that I want to chat through regarding the Royal Rumble specifically. I mean, mainly Stephanie McMahon teased on the Pat McAfee show that there's going to be surprises. This was her quote. She said, John Cena competing in his last Royal Rumble ever is going to be really meaningful. I'm looking forward to Charlotte Flair's return to the ring. It's been way too long. Lots of surprises that I don't even know about. And if I did, I wouldn't be allowed to say. I don't know, truthfully. I know some things, but not all things. So, I mean, what does that mean? I mean, it's going to make for a fun Rumble knowing that that's on the table. Like, I don't think Stephanie's smart, right? She's been in this business a long time. She knows not to overhype anything if it's not going to happen. She also knows, to pull back and not overstate something, if they're not going to deliver. So I'm sure there's going to be some surprises. There's going to be some fun surprises. Are we talking AJ Styles, right? Are we talking Joe Hendry? Is that going to be a big surprise? Are we talking, a big return of some kind? AJ Lee in the Women's Royal Rumble. I mean, I think that would be pretty darn cool to see him back, or to see her back. Excuse me. And I just think that it's a pretty cool thing if she were to come back. Kurt Angle has said and claims in a report to Fightful, or by Fightful, that WWE contacted him about a potential surprise return at the Royal Rumble. This is a quote here from Fightful. Fightful has learned that WWE legend and Hall of Famer Kurt Angle told those close to him that WWE had contacted him regarding participation in something for this week's WWE Royal Rumble. It was stressed to Fightful that it wasn't known if this was something specifically about the Royal Rumble match or an additional appearance. So, is Kurt in the mix? Don't know. Don't know. All this to say, it's going to be a fun run. And Brian Berry then asks here, so he says here, so The Rock was teased in a Netflix Royal Rumble promo. Yes, Brian, that's going to get people talking. That is going to get people talking for sure. I noticed the exact same thing. I noticed that The Rock was in there in that promo. I don't think that The Rock wants to be a surprise appearance at this point for anything. I think it could be clearly The Rock thinks that he has value to the company from a marketing perspective, from a promotion perspective, and he's right. You put his name on something and that's going to command a lot of attention, whether that's WrestleMania last year, whether that's the Raw on Netflix premiere this year, whether it's the Royal Rumble. I just don't think that, he is the kind of guy that, would want to be a surprise. I think he likes his name in the lights. I think he likes business. He talks about it all the time. He likes breaking records, and he likes breaking, doing things that have never been done before, right? Like the corporatized term that is. So, I think that it's interesting that he's in that Netflix promo. I think, of course, they're going to leverage The Rock and his likeness whenever they can. They're not promoting him, and just because he's in a Royal Rumble promo doesn't mean that he's going to be in the match. But that said, it is interesting. It is interesting, and I think it's something to watch out for. I think it'd be a mistake. The Rock, I thought, and if you go back and you listen to our analysis and discussion back near the early part of January with when The Rock came to Raw on Netflix for the first time, my take on that is I think he hurt himself. I don't think people want to see what made the WrestleMania 40 run for The Rock so interesting and so fun was that he was pro wrestler Rock. He was being the Rock that was a pro wrestler. And what we saw on January 6th for the Netflix premiere was Rock, being like a corporate mouthpiece guy for TKO Group and for WWE. And I think, look, that's fine. That's fine in a boardroom. That's fine if you're negotiating TV deals or trying to license your product and whatnot and build a brand if you're Dwayne Johnson. But I don't think wrestling fans care about that. And all he did in that appearance was throw cold water on his feud with Cody Rhodes and kind of tease something maybe with Roman Reigns. But I thought he did himself a disservice. And so I think he would do himself a disservice again if he entered the Royal Rumble at 31, right? I mean, that's, hey, could he get some heat that way? Sure. But there's a lot going on in the Royal Rumble right now, and The Rock's not involved with it. It's about Roman. It's about CM Punk. It's about John Cena. It's even about Drew McIntyre and Sami Zayn and Seth Rollins. And, that's who it's about. And if Rock comes in, it's immediately about him. And frankly, I don't think WWE needs Rock for this. It'd be nice to have him for WrestleMania. I wouldn't turn that down. But for Royal Rumble, it just doesn't seem like they need him for that at this point. So interesting, Brian, but I don't think they're going to go anywhere with it. Dr. Ross asks here with a super chat. Thank you, Dr. Ross. It's a huge help. Thank you. Appreciate you. Dr. Ross says, who will have the most eliminations in each Rumble? Boy, let's see here. I'm going to go with the women. Oh, man, here's the thing. I don't know what Jade Cargill's status is, whether or not she's healthy, whether or not she's going to be in the match. If I knew for sure she'd be in the match, I would say Jade Cargill for most eliminations in the women's match. At this point, I will take the lame choice and say Jordynne Grace. I mean, I think that's kind of obvious. I think that even if she doesn't win, she's gonna get a good, a couple good moments, I think, and I think they're going to try to put a feather in her cap in terms of she matters. She made a really big impact and she didn't win, but she made a really big impact. And so I think that she'll get that. So not a fun out of the box guess there with Jordynne Grace, but I'll take that one. And on the men, I think everyone's talking about it. Jacob Fatu, get him in there and make a big splash. Make a big splash with him right out of the gate. He had a great showing at Saturday night's main event. He even got some promo time on Saturday night's main event, which is really cool. And so I think that Fatu, it may not be in the cards for him to win this year. He may be, a year or two away from something like that, but you can start setting the table for him for sure. And this would be the perfect opportunity to do that. We have one of our Brass Ring Media Premium Gold members in our chat right now, Andrew H. What's going on, Andrew? Thank you for your support. Also, thank you to Sean and thank you to Tracy for being Premium Gold members. We certainly appreciate the support. Andrew says here, Rock Roman is still the money match. So many strings to pull. The Tribal Chief, the High Chief, the Final Boss. Rock beat Cody. Roman lost to Cody. Rock put the Ulafala on Roman. Yeah, I mean, look, if WWE can do that match this year, they're doing it. You know, they had all intentions to do that match last year, and it got derailed, rightfully so. But this year, that's open. And I think, honestly, like, for somebody like, and I said this on a previous show, for somebody like Gunther, right? You almost want Roman to have that Rock match, because I think if Roman has that Rock match, Gunther has a chance to stay champion, like going into WrestleMania. I think that if he doesn't have that Rock match, I think you're going to see Gunther lose that world title. So Gunther's sitting there like, please, Rock, decide that you want to wrestle. Come on, Rock. Come on, man. But yeah, that's the match. That is the money match, Andrew. And they're gonna do it. They're gonna do it. Dr. Ross says, who will have the shortest stay in each Royal Rumble? Oof, boy. Sorry, like I think, yeah, Chad Gable definitely, I think, will have the shortest stay for the men. And I think, like, not that this is the right call, but I think she's somebody that can like pull it off and sell it and get it over. Chelsea Green. I'll go Chelsea Green shortest in the women's match. Chelsea Green and Chad Gable, only because, you know, Chelsea is just good at that kind of thing. She can sell that perfectly, and she can whine about it. I mean, you can just picture like how she'd be. So there you have it. Sean's here. I was just talking about you, Sean. Just talking about you and thanking you for your premium membership. Sean says, what's up, guys? Rock should be there, but I'm not sure if he will. And Sean also says, honestly, I could say Theory as the shortest entrant into the Royal Rumble. Yeah, he works. Grayson Waller works too. So I think that could be something. Somebody like in NXT, like a Robert Stone or something to that end, right? I mean, he could always be a guy that is in the Royal Rumble just to get eliminated quickly by somebody like, I don't know, somebody like Obafemi or something to that end. Lots of options. Matthew's in our live chat. Hello, Matthew. I predicted my winners. So a little bit of a spoiler here, but you should go back and watch and or listen to our full Royal Rumble preview from Tuesday. I think we put some good context around the winners, and I won't go into fully explaining why I think these two are going to win. But Matthew, I encourage you to check out those shows. If you haven't subscribed to our podcast, definitely do that, and you can listen to our shows and take them on the go. It's also obviously right here on the One True Sport YouTube channel too. But I picked John Cena to win the men's Royal Rumble and Charlotte Flair to win the women's Royal Rumble. And boy, I'm just gonna kick back and watch that all happen. I'm strangely confident today in the John Cena pick. I don't know. I don't know why. You know, it's weird that he wasn't on Raw. Like I said this on Tuesday. Weird that he wasn't on Raw, but I just don't think those things are accidents in WWE. You know, I just don't. Sean was on with us on Tuesday night. He says, really enjoyed being out with you guys. That show was a blast. Yeah, it was really fun. Hopefully everybody checks it out. Yeah. Thank you, Sean, for joining. All right. So Royal Rumble. Let me just plug something really quick. I mean, I feel like I'm the king of plugs today, but hey, it is what it is. I have a series running this week for Sports Illustrated, Takedown on SI. It's the wrestling arm of Sports Illustrated. And I wrote like 3 pieces, like three contradictory pieces on why John Cena should win the Royal Rumble, why CM Punk should win the Royal Rumble, and why Roman Reigns should win the Royal Rumble. Today, the final one dropped. It's up there right now for Roman Reigns, but you can check out all three. Hopefully that you hope you do. Hope you do. I appreciate it. Appreciate it in advance. Before we move to AEW, we got a fun fantasy question here from Matthew Rodriguez. Don't normally take questions like this from a fantasy perspective, but this is an interesting one, and it like slides right into our conversation about for AEW chatter. So it's a perfect kind of bridge. All right, here we go. Matthew says, fantasy question. What if Mick Foley from 2000 was an AEW and did the Triple H feud with an AEW star and revealed himself as Cactus Jack like in SmackDown 2000? What male AEW star do you choose? So what male AEW star do I choose for that reveal to have happened against? Man, this one, straightforward if you ask me. Like I didn't even need 2 seconds to think about it because it is MJF. Boom. MJF all the way. I mean, like there's a little like 2000 Triple H in him, I think. I mean, like, you know, not the same look, obviously, and really not even like the same wrestling style, but there definitely is like that kind of attitude, that heel aggressiveness. I very much think that that's MJF. MJF. Good question, Matthew. I love it. All right, let's pivot. We got 20 minutes here or something like that. Let's pivot. I want to talk about AEW, and I want to talk about AEW Dynamite. And how do I put this? I was not a fan of the show this week. That's how you put it. That's how I put it. Like look, there were parts of it that were okay. You know, there were parts of it that were fine, and there were elements of parts that even I didn't like that were okay. For example, the Don Callis family stuff. I like that Don Callis family is a central heel faction on the show. That's good. That's good for a pro wrestling show. And I think that you're starting to see that faction kind of get itself lined up, and there's a little bit of a hierarchy there. It's still a little muddy with Kyle Fletcher and Konosuke Takeshita as both like singles acts that are at the top of the faction, but it's okay. It's okay for right now. The problem that I had, and that's okay. So I think that's good. I really think that that's good. The problem that I have is that I don't get the sense that like the AEW audience is just salivating at the idea of Will Ospreay and Kenny Omega teaming up with one another to vanquish the Don Callis family. You know, I just don't see momentum there, and the relationship between like Ospreay and Omega has moved so quick. Like it just was a week ago that they were like cursing each other down in the middle of the ring, and then 5 minutes later they're on the same side. And I don't have any problem with that on the surface. I think you can, I think like look, when you're in a fight and you need a partner, and then that partner is there, like you can change your opinion on somebody pretty darn quick if you really, really need them. So I think that's fine, but I still think you want to build up interest in their relationship, and you want to create like a storyline where the fans are really behind those baby faces. And I didn't feel that during this angle. Even as they're getting beaten down, it's like, to me, the audience felt like they were like, oh, okay, we know we should react to this. We know we should cheer these guys on, but like, like it's fine. Like we'll give them like a little bit of a golf clap, spattering of a golf clap. Like it's just, it just kind of was blah. Sean says here, Dynamite was not a very good show last night, and the ratings showed it. Nothing to really sink your teeth into. Yeah, that's right. That's right. Yeah, it's all just kind of flat. I think is probably the best way to put it. Andrew is in the chat. He goes, I can't even play devil's advocate with the AEW. I think a lot of people feel that way. Here's another thing. The Jon Moxley. So last week on this show, I went on like I went on like maybe like a 20-minute diatribe on why the Jon Moxley stuff isn't necessarily compelling television, but that it is effective in building up Jon Moxley so that a babyface can eventually beat him. You can check out last week's show to hear that analysis. This week, more of the same in terms of like another beatdown and Moxley and Death Rider stuff, same stuff. However, you had that backstage promo with Moxley and Renee Paquette, and Moxley, I thought, did just a wonderful, wonderful job talking about why that AEW World Championship is in a briefcase, right? Like that to me was on point. Like I really, really liked that interview. Moxley was good. Moxley's always good on the microphone, right? I mean, he had the right attitude. He had the right everything. Like he had the right tone. And I thought what he said about the title was really telling. Like, I'm the championship now. You don't need the belt to be the champion. Like, I thought this was really interesting. Now, here's the thing though. You had if you're AEW, and I wrote about this on in my column yesterday that dropped on the Brass Ring Media Substack. If you're not a subscriber to the Substack, you got to get over there. We'd love to have you. Just search us on Substack. You get it right to your inbox every day. What they're missing here with Moxley is talking about the hypocrisy around what Moxley says about the AEW World Championship. That's where the heat is. The heat for Mox is he's talking about being the savior of the world title, and he's talking about being a valiant AEW World Champion, and he's talking about restoring, the glory to the AEW World Championship. But yet, at the same time, that's not how he acts. He cheats. He's, arrogant. He's ruthless and brutal and violent, overly so. He talks about integrity, but he doesn't ever show it. And we don't get enough from baby faces. We don't get enough from the announcers talking about that. It's got to be every time Moxley cuts a promo like he did with Renee Paquette, the announcers have to go, yeah, that's, they had to call him out with the audience. Like, that's great, Mox, but you cheated to win the last two title defenses. If you don't call out that hypocrisy that Moxley has in that moment, and if baby faces don't talk about it either, right? They need to address it too. If you don't talk about that, there's no heat. The heat is in that hypocrisy with Jon Moxley. That is the point. And if you leave it out, then Moxley just becomes this cool, anti-hero babyface. In the end, that's what will happen. And so he's got to check himself, and AEW has to check him. They have to position him as this hypocrite world champion who thinks he's doing X, but really he's doing Y. That is the key. And I don't think they go there enough with it. They don't go deep enough on that. And so Moxley's words come across as, oh, wow, that's kind of cool. Instead of, wow, this guy is completely out of touch. This guy's crazy. He doesn't do that. I want a babyface to beat him. That's what you need. And they're absolutely missing that right now. Sean says here, yeah, that's a face thing to say other than trying to kill people. Yeah, right. Bingo. We can only Brandon mentioned here that Copeland will beat Moxley for the title. Andrew H says we can only hope, Brandon, but I think Cope is another lamb to slaughter. Yeah, I do too. I don't think Copeland is going to be the AEW World Champion anytime soon. I think he's a good opponent. But again, he doesn't call out Moxley either. Like I think like Adam Copeland or Cope, God, the Cope thing is just blah. Okay, all right. I don't want to get on a rant about Cope. Like Cope, the name Cope. I'll talk about Cope, but no rant on the name. I think that Copeland is like the most credible opponent that Moxley's had. And to me, like that's interesting because it's been Orange Cassidy and it's been, Jeff Jarrett, right? Like, or like at least not a direct opponent, but an opponent nonetheless, or like somebody who's actively trying to get a title shot. This one, like, I think you can paint Copeland as somebody that could threaten Moxley. They just haven't. They just haven't done a well enough job of that. He just runs out there and that's it. Runs out there with FTR, doesn't talk. Dax Harwood talks, and it's just like, what are we doing? You got to add some depth there, and I just don't think they have. I think it's possible. They still got time, but they gotta do more. Sean's question here. Sean says, Zach, do you think they will do that? They don't want to be bothered, and I think you're referencing to the work that it takes on in terms of context to help get Moxley over. I don't think they'll do that. I really don't. I'd be shocked if they did. Really, I mean, they haven't shown that they care about that kind of thing throughout their history at any point, even at their high point in 2021. Like that wasn't a part of the product. That wasn't a part of what they did. And honestly, like, look, they're facing up to the issues of that miss right now. You don't have, because you don't have like a concerted focus on how we're talking about this person or how we're presenting this person and this guy's our star. Because you don't have that, everybody's kind of over at the same-ish level. You've got guys like Mox and Swerve and Hangman Page who are like a little bit more over than everybody else, but like not by much. It's not like Roman Reigns style over or Cody Rhodes style over, right? It's not. And part of the reason is you've spent the better part of your existence as a company not putting the elbow grease in on stuff like this, not fleshing out your storylines, not having a cohesive strategy in terms of how to talk about angles or how to talk about stars or how to talk about just what's happening on your show. They haven't had that. And now you're 5 years in and you don't have like a constitution to grab onto with this stuff. And I think that hurts a lot. Now you can get back to it. Like, that's the thing. It's not something that this is like, because it's not there now doesn't mean it's never got to be there. Like, you just have to decide to go there with it. And so I hope they do. I hope they recognize that, like, man, how do we get the most heat possible out of Jon Moxley? Well, you do that by, making him not just a vicious guy, not just a violent guy, not just, not just this kind of lunatic, but a hypocrite. That's the heat. And you got to get there with it. All right. Let's see. Talk about Shane in the chat here. Yeah, guys, I don't know. I think, look, this Jon Moxley, the problem with this whole like higher power, like tease, early on is that, like, it's Jon Moxley. Jon Moxley's not going to take orders from anybody. He's not going to take orders from Shane McMahon, for God's sakes, or he shouldn't, right? So I always was on the fence of saying that, like, that's a bad idea, Shane, in AEW. Like, I no. And because now you're so far past kind of that initial moment, I don't see it. I don't see I don't see that being a thing. It's a good notion. It's a good notion, Brandon. But I don't think that it's something that they're angling towards at this point in time. All right. Last but not least here for our chat about AEW. What did everybody think of the Mariah May promo? She stands at the top of the stage. She addresses Timeless Toni Storm and the fact that Timeless Toni Storm is back and pretty much no-sells it. Now, I honestly have mixed feelings about this. I really do. And I know on the surface, and there is a correct element to looking at that promo and going, whoa, dude, she just totally undercut everything Toni Storm's been doing for the last couple months for sure. But even like broadly speaking, like the big, broad, timeless Toni character kind of gets neutralized because Mariah May stood on the top of that stage and no-sold everything. Just didn't impact her. That's not great. That's not great. Now, here's the thing, though. I did like the promo from the perspective of I just thought Mariah May was really comfortable. I thought she was mean in how she talked. She looked and sounded and acted like a heel. And she wasn't like I think you could I think in that situation, if you try to sell being impacted by timeless Toni Storm returning, you could come across looking like really, really weak and like Seth Rollins working with the Fiend week. I mean, you guys remember that when he was cowering in the corner, scared of the big bad Fiend monster? That just didn't work. And I don't think it would have worked here in a solo promo with Mariah May. I think, with Mariah May, you have another shot here to show that the timeless gimmick is impacting her, right? But I think you need to do it with Toni Storm nearby. It's got to be a face-to-face promo. If Mariah May is just out there scared of Toni Storm as a concept, right? She looks weak to me. I think she should be able to stand on a stage and puff her chest and pretend that she's okay. But then when push comes to shove and you're face to face with Toni Storm, that's when you sell. That's when you sell. That's when that's when you react. And so she kind of undercut it. If this was a go home promo and the match was tomorrow, I think we'd have a very, very big problem here. But we do have a couple more episodes of AEW television on deck. We've got Collisions, we've got Dynamite next week. They have time. They have time to repair this. And so I'm not as worried about it as some folks seem to be because, as long as it's paired with another chapter that's impactful and another chapter that makes sense, I think they can make this work, and they can pivot not even pivot, that they can make this week's chapter work instead of completely undercutting the whole angle. So I'm not ready to sound the alarm yet on it because I think they have time for more chapters. Sean says here, yes, she no-sold everything. How does that help? She should be intimidated to some degree or nervous or something. Without Toni, Mariah just isn't working for me. Well, yeah, those two are attached at the hip. They, I don't think you've seen decent to okay stuff with Toni Storm and other people on the roster, and then you've seen pretty flat stuff with Mariah May and other people on the roster. But when those two are together, man, that's money. That's money. They really have created something really cool together. And to Sean's point here, yes, she should be intimidated. She should be nervous. I think she's got to wait to be with Toni to show that. So we'll see what happens, when they do this again. And I'm certain that they're going to have, some face-to-face time with one another. But, they gotta you got to give them a little bit of leeway here because they are telling a story, and you don't want to just completely like neutralize your heel world champion. Like you gotta show some strength there, and I think that's what this was about. Vox. The next pay-per-view is Revolution. That's in March, early March 9th, as Sean says here. But they do have this Grand Slam Australia show. I cover this industry. I still don't know when and what time that show is going to be. It's crazy. When can you watch this thing? I don't know. I should know. You should know. Fans should know when this Grand Slam show is going to be, and I don't, and it's frustrating. So I get what you're saying. Vox, for sure. And thanks for joining. Appreciate it. All right, let me hit a couple news elements here before we ride off into the sunset. Steve Austin provided a health update. He had knee replacement surgery, and he says he's doing okay. Why is that important to me? Well, I wrote this book. Stunning, The Wrestling Artistry of Steve Austin. It is a book about the artistry of Steve Austin's career in the ring. So we go all the way back to the beginning, one of his first matches, and we analyze matches from that point until his very last match with Kevin Owens. So hope you guys check it out. It's on Amazon. It's from Hybrid Shoot, independent publishing company. So you're helping an independent publisher, an independent author. If you guys know Jonathan Snowden, he wrote the Shamrock book. He was a mentor on this one. I hope you guys get this out. Sean says here, glad to see the biggest star in the business doing well. Yeah, for sure. Does it mean return? No, I don't think so. Let's see here. Also, Stephanie McMahon announced yesterday on the Pat McAfee show that she has a brand new show coming out. It's going to be on ESPN Plus, and she is basically going to be talking to, I guess, interviewing the biggest wrestling stars in the business. So they dropped a teaser kind of trailer or hype, sizzle reel almost. And in that, she's talking with Roman Reigns. She's talking with Cody Rhodes. She's talking with Steve Austin too on about their careers. It says the whole point of the show reportedly is that she wants to tell the real stories. I feel like we've heard these real stories, but Stephanie's going to tell them again on ESPN Plus. So she's kind of back. I mean, I'm obviously that's the real story, right? That Stephanie's slowly but surely getting pulled back into the fold of WWE. So that's interesting. There's no news on whether or not she's back from a business perspective. Is she holding a business role? No indication on that at this time, but she's back doing creative stuff, working on projects. So always one step away. All right, you guys. Fun show this morning. What a great way to start Friday. What a great way to start Royal Rumble weekend. Keep it locked here at One True Sport, but also over at Brass Ring Media. You guys got to hop over and subscribe to the Brass Ring Media YouTube channel. That's where I'm going to be doing a lot of my live on-site reporting from Indianapolis and from the Royal Rumble. So follow over there, subscribe so you know and can see when we go live. Going to be dropping short videos all weekend long. Going to be trying to record some stuff on podcasts and get it up on our podcast feed. So going to be writing for the Substack newsletter as well. So now is the perfect time to subscribe to our free platforms, Substack, YouTube, and wherever you get your podcasts. Just search Brass Ring Media and you will find it. Thanks so much to Dr. Ross, who submitted our super chats today. I really appreciate it, Dr. Ross. Thank you for doing so. Thanks to our premium gold members, Andrew and Sean. Couldn't do this without you, and we couldn't do this without any of our members. So thank you for being Brass Ring Media members. you can check out our membership options on Patreon. Patreon.com/BrassRingMedia is where you do that, and all sorts of different perks. So check it out. We want to earn your business. We'll do all we can to earn and maintain and keep your business. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Have a wonderful, wonderful Friday. We'll talk to you guys real soon. Have a good one. See you.